So my friends, my video did not record, so I am going to read this story and then I'm going to recreate the lesson and I will put it in the Zoom link. So there'll be 2 Zoom links. So I'm going to read you this book real quick. So this book is called The Magical Garden of Claude Monet. Oops, we'll see which ways. Okay. The Magical Garden of Claude Monet. Let's see here. I wish we had a garden, said Julia. Says Julie, sorry. She looked down the dark river which ran through the city. Even Louis the greyhound was bored with being inside. As soon as I've finished this painting, said Julie's mother, I will take you on a journey to the most wonderful garden in the world. It belongs to my old friend, the painter, Claude Monet. They took a big black train beside the twisting river far out of the city and into the countryside. Louis began to run down the hill and into the lane where the huge wood wall stood around a mysterious garden. Stop, Louis called Julie, but it was too late. Louis had gone. Julie didn't know what to do. She had gone down on her hands and knees and wriggled inside. It was like crawling into a dreamy world where twisting plants grew tall as trees. Julie ran around the corner and almost knocked over a big man with a big spade. The man wore a straw hat and a huge white beard. Oh, I'm looking for my dog. Are you the gardener? I suppose I am, said the man. Come and look. One day, these teeny seeds will grow into big flowers, but a gardener has to be very patient, just like a painter. Then Julie realized, you are Claude Monet. She gasped. Yes, laughed the old man. I am Claude Monet. Together, they searched for Louis along the shady path, deeper and deeper into the magical garden until it seemed as if they had left the real world behind. Under a willow, Julie saw Monet's umbrella with a huge white mushroom. And there was Louis. He had a blue nose, a purple ear, and a green paw. Naughty dog, shouted Julie. You've walked all over Mr. Monet's paints. I think your dog wants to be a painter, laughed Monet. Look, he has made a picture too. Then Julie saw Monet's paintings laid out in the sun to dry, clouds floating over on the mirrored pond, a field of golden haystacks, a row of wispy poplars, and the little Japanese bridge. The brush marks glowed like flowers in a garden. They turned the handle on the rickety gate and stepped inside. It was like a garden inside, a wild, wet, watery garden where willows bowed over the silent pool. And together they crossed the green bridge. When they rowed across the pond, it felt like floating in Mr. Monet's painting. How beautiful that is. Julie heard a splash of the oars and a bird calling in the tree. All around them, lilies sparkled in the midnight sky. When they reached the very middle of the pool, Monet stretched out into the dark water and pulled out one flower, the biggest lily of them all, as bright as a silver star. A pretty present from my water garden, he said. They walked back towards the house, and Monet pushed open the huge studio doors. Here is my biggest ideal of all, he said proudly. I'm trying to paint the most enormous water garden in the world. When you stand in the middle, you feel like you've dived into a pool. It will be amazing, said Julie. For the moment, Monet looked sad. But to tell the truth, I wonder if I will ever finish, he said. I'm old now, and my eyesight is bad. Julie thought for a moment. You will need to be very patient, she said, like a gardener. Yes, he smiled, just like a gardener. When Claude Monet pulled out his big watch, 6 o'clock precisely, it's time to eat. Waiting in the yellow dining room, surrounded by pictures from Japan, sat Mrs. Monet and Julie's mother. Here are your little runaways, said Monet. When it was time to leave, Monet walked with them as far as the river. Louis wanted to say goodbye too, but as he jumped up, Julie's beautiful lily went flying into the river. Oh, Louis, shouted Julie. It was a special lily. They took the train back to the city. Even Louis was tired. The garden seemed like a distant dream. Look at this image back here. This is the picture of the impressionism, there you go, impressionism of the sunrise that Monet painted. So it was meant to look like this in the back. But in the middle of the night, Julie heard Louis whining to go outside. She tiptoed through the apartment, and beneath the balcony, something was sparkling in the river. Julie ran outside and stretched into the dark water. She pulled out a lily as bright as a silver star. Perhaps it's a little present from the water garden, she whispered. As the city slept, she breathed in the sweet smell of the magical garden of Claude Monet. And there's a picture of Claude Monet. And that picture was, the book was called The Magical Garden of Claude Monet.